Hello, good evening, everyone. Uh, we are live on the Detroit Metro Plug podcast where connections matter, bringing you interviews of difference makers from Detroit in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. So I'm excited this evening. We have a special guest and a special topic. So if you're joining us live, I just want to encourage you to like and share this feed to your friends, your families, or people you may know who have a business or are looking to get their business funded, looking for financing. We have a brother who's going to share about that, his company and the services he provides. So thank you again. Detroit Metro Plug podcast coming to you live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So we're about a platform that serves other businesses and serves our community, but by providing great resources. And we're also about celebrating the contributions that people are doing in the Metro Detroit area specifically. So we're excited. So let me get into our guests for this evening. Thanks again for those who are joining. Like and subscribe to our channel, of course, but also share this live feed to people who can benefit from this. Okay. So, our next guest for today's podcast, he is a certified commercial loan broker as well as a business purpose loan broker who focuses on offering his services to entrepreneurs from startup to small business to large corporations. He has a relationship with over 70 lenders in some cases, serves as a lender himself. He can broker finances for various purposes for investment properties, commercial buildings, working capital, term loans, SBA, that's for the Small Business Administration, receivable, 401ks, and several other financing types. His goal is to elevate business opportunities so that the average person who is seeking finances but is looking for a leg up in the process will have a go to a professional will have to go to a professional drive to drive the process. One of his slogans, he wants to take the struggle out of financing and be the next step towards client success. The name of his company is Marine Solutions LLC. If you don't know who I'm talking about brother Omari Barksdale.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
All right,
Hey,
all right. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I know that was a little elaborate introduction, but I wanted to let the folks know who you are and what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into your business.
Yeah, so I'm a Detroiter through and through, born and raised. Went to college in state, Fair State University. I studied advertising and marketing. Um, I come from a family that was on both sides of my family. One side we had Barksdale Funeral Homes. The other side of my family we had Kennedy's Restaurant, which is my grandmother and grandfather's restaurant. Um, so I've always been in that space. My cousin was a developer and a real estate guy. So I've always been kind of in that space, in that vein. So I wear a few different hats. I'm a poet. I've traveled the country as a poet. I'm the regional director of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum. Been with the museum from the beginning. Um, I work with Sasha Center as a lead facilitator, running men's groups to discuss men's issues as it relates to patriarchy, domestic violence, sexual assault, so on and so forth. Yeah, I do a few different things, but right now, the space I'm in is commanding me to focus on helping all people, but specifically my people, Black people, not just them, but really, we've been so removed from the process when it comes to borrowing. We see a lot of stuff in history, you know, where black folks can't get loans or have more of a challenge getting a loan, even with some of the same qualifications as our white counterparts. So I wanted to remove some of that obstacle out of the way I'm also with a black investment real estate investment group here in Detroit that we're just getting started, which also doubles as a website for black businesses to register nationwide so that we can use geo tracking location when you go out of town. If you're looking for a certain type of black owned business, you can put it in your GPS and find them. But yeah, the broker piece is what I'm most focused on because I can do commercial buildings. I can get residential properties, loans for residential properties. As long as the owner doesn't live in them, they can only be investment properties,
Okay. Okay.
and so on and so forth. And we can get more into the types of lending as we proceed.
Okay. So let's go into just your journey of how you came to form Marine Solutions and get into this financial loan sector.
Yeah, so I met up with some folks who were talking about this business purpose loan broker distinction that I had never heard of. I don't think most people ever heard of it.
Hmm.
Uh, and I said, well, what is this? Is it really legit? And so I did some research on it. I dug deep and found out not only is it legit, but it's been legit for almost 100 years.
Okay.
Which is something once again that we've been locked out of because nobody told us about it.
Okay.
Um, and essentially, what it is almost anybody can go get a business loan or a commercial loan or at least apply for one. But not many people can find someone who has direct access and conversations with the people that are doing the lending. And my banks aren't the real big banks. The Bank of America's, Bank of America, the big banks. Let's just say the big banks. They approve about 22.1% of their loan applications.
Wow. Wow.
My banks, my lenders combine for about 56.3%.
Wow.
So already there, you have a big gap in the approval rates. And many of my lenders are specialized.
Okay.
So I might have, for example, 10 real estate lenders. I might have one lender that doesn't do fix and flips, one that might. One won't loan to you if you want to do short term rentals like Airbnb and Verbo, and another one, might not. Some do ground up construction, some don't. So they all specialize in what they like to do, right? And that's one thing the average person doesn't know who to go to for these specialties.
Okay.
And so I wanted to remove that barrier because we have enough barriers, black, white, or otherwise. We have enough barriers in our way when it comes to getting finance. So I just wanted to be somebody that could push some of those out of the way.
Oh, that's awesome. So it sounds like you have different options depending on what the person is looking to achieve, whether they're looking to fix and flip, maybe go into Airbnb, or maybe need a commercial building for a build out. So,
Absolutely.
uh, we, what I want to know is like a lot of people just want to know the whole concept of how do you become bankable? What is some things you got to have in place that will increase your chances to get approved? I like that you said that the people you deal with, there's a 53% chance of approval as opposed
56.
to your
Yeah.
56%, yeah, as opposed to your traditional banks that only approve 20% of the loans. But what is it that we have to do to prepare ourselves? What do we got to have in place?
So that's another thing about my lenders. Some of them are real heavy on credit and some aren't.
Okay.
Um, some of them are really, they really want you to have a bank account that's bringing in 10,000 or more per month for the last 3 months. Some of them don't require that.
Okay.
Um, you know, there are different combinations you can use to find yourself with a loan. You know, and
Okay.
some people just are not going to be fundable, but I have people I can direct them to for credit repair and credit building so
Okay.
they can work some of those issues out and come back to me at a later date, and then we can figure something out from there. But in some cases, really, for like a rental property, the the lender really wants to see that the rents that you will be collecting will exceed your monthly payment repayment loan repayment price plus your expenditures, your bills.
Okay.
And so, for example, if your monthly loan repayment is $700,
Hmm.
but you're bringing enough rent, you're bringing like $1,100 a month in rent, you know, unless you have like atrocious credit and you have certain things in your background like bankruptcies, recent bankruptcies, or defaulted judgments against you, you know, you'll probably get funded if you don't have those kind of issues in place.
Okay.
You want to be making some kind of money. You don't want zero in your account because when you're dealing with real estate, they're going to require you, depending on if it's residential or commercial, they're going to require you to bring 20 to 30% to the table,
Okay.
down payment plus closing costs, right? So you do want to have, if you're doing real estate, you want to have some money together
Okay.
to cover your upfront portion of, because they don't want to take the full risk.
Okay. Okay.
But the beauty of that money that you're putting into your property is
Yes.
that it becomes instant equity. So it's not a throwaway.
Right. So, is there a minimum credit score that's required before they even seek you out?
You know, depends on the lender. Is between 500 and 640,
Oh, okay.
right?
500, 640.
I would say that if you could get close to 620 to 640, you're in a pretty safe zone
Okay.
for most of the lenders.
So there's no 700 plus, none of that. Pretty much.
Right.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's
The
good.
thing about credit that a lot of people don't realize is that, okay, so I know of a guy who does credit repair, and the guy came to him because he had an 820 and couldn't get funded, right? Well, the problem,
820?
he had an 820. The
Wow.
problem with credit is that it was hollow, which means that he was jumping on other people's credit line to
Oh,
build his credit. So none of his credit was anything that he truly generated. He was living off of other people's activity. And the banks, they can see that on the other end of what
okay.
we can't see. They can see how you developed your credit.
Right.
So you don't want to do a bunch of crazy stuff just to make your numbers look good, because you might be sitting there with an 820 and the person next to you has a 660 and they can get funded before you. So
Okay.
you want to do the work. You want to do the work and you want to do the
So you
diligence.
got you got to have a little bit of credit history, have some time on there, paying things on time, get
Yeah,
into
and
that.
that depends on the lender and the type of loan you're going for.
Okay.
Uh, your credit scores really come in, and your previous income really comes in heavy when it comes to um, our non-real estate loans, right?
Okay.
Like our business line of credit, our term loans, your SBA loans, so on and so forth. And with our lenders for real estate, we have a lender that's a community development fund type lender, who is less stringent on the requirements as far as what levels you need to be at for your requirements, but they do want to see uh, your tax history.
Right.
They want to see some of your business history to see if you've been improving on your income,
Hmm.
uh, you know, each year. So it really, but they work more with the client, to get them funded. because their money comes from the government to help develop community business.
Okay.
So they're there for that purpose.
Now you touched a little bit on it. So, does the person have to have their entity structured? Like, do they need to have a filed LLC, a sole proprietor with their local government? Do they have a
Yeah,
business bank account? What are some of
they
the
don't
little things?
they don't have to, but I'd rather only do it when people do have that in place
Mhm.
for a couple different reasons. One, if we have to use your business at all with the lender, then it's in place already. But the biggest reason for it is I want you to be able to protect yourself uh, financially,
Okay.
tax wise, because if you go into business doing real estate and you get a lot of money moving around, without a LLC, yeah, a lot of your money is going to go right back in taxes. You're not
Right.
going to reap the same tax benefits. So that's why. Listen, I mean, people will come to me and say, Omari, I need a $50,000 loan.
Right.
And when I look at everything they have going on and what it takes for them to be successful, I'll turn them away. I'll tell them I can't do your loan because if I get you a $50,000 loan, I'm setting you up for failure because your business really needs 250,000 to become effective and to become successful. That
Wow.
$50,000 is only going to get you in trouble. And a lot of times the banks will see that as well, and they won't fund you for that very reason. See, we're taught to apply for smaller amounts,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We
so
talk.
the likelihood of
You don't
them
want to
being
have that big
approved,
big debt.
right, and the likelihood of them will be that they'll be approved goes up, right?
Right. Right.
That's not really how business credit works.
Okay.
That's not how it works in the business for business loans. The business loans, everybody's raising their minimums now for real estate. Like 2 months ago, a lot of lenders' minimum was $75,000 for a loan. Now a lot of them
Wow.
are at 100 or $150,000 for a loan
Hmm.
because they make money off of lending to you. So
Right.
it costs them the same amount of money to produce paperwork, so on and so forth, for a $50,000 loan as it does for a $300,000 loan. So they want more bang for their buck. So, um, but they also want to know you'll be able to pay them back. And if they feel like they're funding you too little for you to be successful, they would rather reject the loan than to put themselves in the position of not being paid back.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
So
so definitely.
you
Oh,
got
go
to
ahead.
do your business plans, right?
Hmm.
I don't need a business plan for most of my lenders,
Okay.
but you need a business plan when you try to decide how much money you need for your business.
Okay. All right. And I was looking on your website for Marine Solutions LLC, the one you have on Facebook, and you did a little post about some of the basics to have. We talked about the LLC, having a, if you don't like my business with the podcasting and media, I don't have a brick and mortar, but I have a PO box, with the UPS store or whatever. But you encourage people to have a virtual address and
Yeah,
have things set up that makes it easier to for lenders. Is that fair to say?
yeah,
Kind of what you? Okay.
yeah. Like for example, you brought up a PO box.
Hmm.
Lenders don't. They
Yeah.
rarely ever fall into a PO box,
Yeah.
right?
I found that out. So I have to switch to a virtual address.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
So.
even your home. So lenders have this thing. It's not official, but lenders have this thing that they consider home, hobby, and real, right? Hobby
Hobby and
business and
real.
real.
Okay.
So if your business is registered at your home,
Hmm.
no matter how legitimate it might be or how great it might be, they consider it a hobby
They
business.
consider it a hobby business. Okay.
But if you have a virtual office, that's considered a brick and mortar for some
Oh, really?
reason. Even though, yeah, because it actually has to be located at a brick and mortar, right? When
What's
you
the
get a virtual
workaround to get
office,
that? What is there? Is there a place you recommend? I've seen different, websites that
yeah, like
offer virtual.
Opus, Alliance.
Okay.
It's quite a few of them online. I always encourage people to look through them because they all have different services
Right, right,
and
right.
see what fits your business needs. Because they have 1-800 numbers and receptionists in some packages.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
you can some of them allow you to rent conference rooms for like 25-30 bucks
Right,
when
right,
you
right.
need them as your conference
Okay.
space. So I would do a look around, compare prices, compare services based on what type of business I have to see
Yes.
which one I want to use.
Okay. So
They're
that's. Mhm.
not all made exactly alike.
But I like what you said. If you, because a lot of people, especially in our community, just getting started, it was a side hustle or maybe a hobby. And when they registered their LLC with the state of Michigan, for example, they used their address. They didn't have I used, I have a box at the UPS store, but I found out as I was going on that they still considered that a PO box, and so sometimes I run into
Yeah,
issues. So now I have to explore a virtual address so that I can take
yeah.
advantage of those resources. Yes.
Like tomorrow, I'll be going to my virtual office down on Congress and getting my mail. They keep my mail.
Oh, okay. So yours
Yeah,
is right. So they have a where you get all your receivables and everything.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. That's dope. That's dope. Okay. So so you have different products for different solutions. Any other requirements outside of the credit, maybe having their business entity set up, a virtual office, any other thing that you would advise someone to have in place before they seek your services?
Yeah. I think okay. First off, whenever you deal with a broker of any type, you're gonna have broker fees. So
Okay.
you need to plan for broker fees. And that's just not for me. That's any broker you go to, right?
Right, right.
Um, there aren't many business purpose and commercial loan brokers in the state of Michigan. But if you choose not to ride with me and you have somebody else you know that does it, they have a broker consultation fee that you have to pay up front.
Okay.
But also, when it comes to real estate, remember you're going to have closing costs in place. So have your money prepared for that and in the bank already, because when they request the bank records, that money needs to be reflected in your account.
Okay.
Um, so just know if you're trying to buy a building that's $300,000, you know you want to put in about you want to have about 20 to 30%. If it's a commercial building, you want 25 to 30% of that cost in your bank account. If it's a house that you want to use for investment purposes, usually you're safe with 20 to 25%. That does not include the closing costs,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So you want to have that in place. You want to have your 1-800 number and your website in place. Look like a real business. Have your own URL, your own domain, your URL, your phone number, your 1-800 number, or whatever. It doesn't have to be a 1-800 number, but don't let it be your personal number.
Okay.
Um, 1-800 numbers look a little bit more legitimate. 877-866-833, whatever the
Right,
case
right.
may be. Uh,
And you could get that with the virtual office, right? Because I've seen some
you can get
packages.
that with your virtual office, or you can use a separate service if you want.
Okay.
It's totally a matter of choice.
All right.
If you like to integrate everything in one, a lot of people rather have it all in one place.
Right, right.
Um,
I prefer
you
that.
know,
Yes.
yeah. So, and some people, if money is tight, they don't want one to get cut off for a month. Yeah, we do. I'm not getting my Xfinity phone and cable in the
Right.
same,
And same.
you know.
Right,
So,
right.
so I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Your credit, make sure your tax paperwork is together. Depending on the type of loan and the lender, they may or may not ask for your tax information.
Okay.
Income wise, some of them might only ask you to state your income and never actually look. They'll tell you up front. We just need a stated income. Tell us how much you make. We're not going to look into it.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So
Yeah.
okay. So good information. So it's not always that they need your tax history, your projections, your business plan, or financial statements, or something like that. Now, uh, a few other questions before we wrap things up. So, I particularly interested in like a loan, maybe not to purchase a property, but maybe for a build out, for a space that may be leased. Do you guys offer those kind of loans,
Yeah,
or just for ownership?
it's so with something like that, I would more likely suggest you do a working capital loan,
Okay.
which doesn't require a down payment,
Okay.
um, and it's not a real estate loan.
Okay.
It's essentially a business loan
Okay.
to boost to scale your business.
All
So
right.
I would suggest something like that because you can use that money however you need. They don't really ask you
Working capital.
necessarily.
All right.
Yeah,
And what about if you just need a business line of credit? How does that work with
yeah, you
terms of?
can do a business line of credit. Same kind of requirements, a little bit more stringent on the requirements.
Hmm.
They will want a lot of times for a business line of credit. They want to know that you're bringing in at least um, for whatever that term is that of the business line um, and the merchant and the merchant financing. They want to
Hmm.
know you're bringing in like 50% of that loan amount pretty quickly. So they want to know they're gonna get their money back really quickly. It's
Okay.
not a term. It's not a term loan. It's not like a lot of times it's a very short term.
All right. And yeah, I'm glad you brought the terms up. What are some? I mean, you're not considered. You have people. There's different vehicles. There's what we call hard money loans and
Mhm.
regular traditional micro loans and stuff like that. How would you best
Yeah.
describe the packages and products that you provide?
So I have hard money lenders. I don't really get into microloans
Hmm.
because they take as much time to do a bigger loan as they do for me to do. They're kind of a nuisance. I don't personally benefit from a microloan,
Hmm.
and the person that's going to get the microloan is probably honestly they're probably better off going and doing it on their own because it's not that big of a loan, and you're probably if you have really decent credit, you'll probably get your microloan. Um, you don't really need somebody with a great lender relationship to get one of those. But when it comes to traditional loans and hard money loans, a broker can be your best friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the terms? 5 years, 10 years? What are some of the interest
So
rates, or does it vary?
well, the interest rates are calculated on a few different sets of criteria. It's really going to be based on like your credit and a few other scenarios. So we don't really quote interest rates because
Right.
they can change from one day to the next.
Okay.
Um, you really can't depend on them until the lender gives you a term sheet, which is not an approval, but it's basically an idea of what your loan would look like. It's
Okay.
kind of like a pre-approval,
Okay. Okay.
uh, but they'll give you a term sheet, and you at least have an idea of what it might look like. But as far as you asked for interest rates and what was the other?
And the terms, yeah, the different terms.
So the terms are like uh, 1 year, 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10
Okay.
years,
Okay.
11 to 15. So and that's average. That's on average. Some of them might go up to 20.
Okay.
Usually those are the increments that they offer, and those all are based on different things too. Like if it's a major project and a lot of money, you'll probably get a longer term.
Okay.
Uh, if it's a mid-range, quick fix type project, you might get that 6 to 10 year.
Right. Right. Hmm. Okay.
So a lot of that determination is based on those factors.
Okay. All right. We're gonna So I'm gonna do this quick announcement. We're gonna wrap up with, if you can share a little bit of testimonials of people you work with, and then if people want to work directly with you, how they get in touch with you and that whole process. But let me share this quick
The
announcement.
best way to go, because my website is being rebuilt.
Okay.
I do still have some stuff on there,
Okay.
but the best way to reach me, honestly, is by email,
Okay.
which is info at mymarine.com.
Okay.
mymerene.com, mymarine.com.
Okay.
Uh, that's really the best way to reach me.
That's the best way to. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I do have a 1-800 number,
Okay.
which is 1-800. I'm sorry, 877-396
Okay.
2260. I don't always use that thing. I'm trying to remember the number. 2260. So you can reach me on there as well.
Okay. All right. All right. 1 second. We'll be right back. Just 1 second.
Hey everyone, this is Charles with Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. If you are finding value in today's video, I invite you to subscribe, like, and comment. We would love to hear your feedback. And don't forget to click on that notification bell so you can be notified when we have upcoming episodes of difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. If you're interested in being a part of our Facebook networking community, I invite you to click on the link to be a part of that community. This is a place where you can network with like minded people and a chance to share about your product or service. If you're interested in working with me directly on how you can share your story with video or with podcasting, you can email me direct at DetroitMetroPlug313@gmail.com. Thanks again, and let's get back to this interview.
All right, all right. So we're back. For those who have been watching and joining us with Brother Omari Barksdale. He is the owner and founder of Marine Solutions LLC, providing financial services in terms of business loans, commercial loans, servicing. You have over 70, as a relationship, over 70 products, fix or flip, investment, Airbnb, commercial loan. He got you. He got you. Any testimonials or announcements you'd like to share before we wrap things up?
Um, I kind of like to talk about the type of things clients
Okay.
have come to me for,
All right.
and some of them I'm working on right now. So there's a guy who wanted an apartment building that had Senate. So we're working through the process of getting him approved for a loan right now. Another brother is trying to get a building that's worth $1.5 million. It's a commercial building that he's going to do some build outs in, so he can run his existing business out of there and a couple new businesses as well. It's room for him to do three purpose space for, and so we're working on getting him loans. And somebody came to me recently, yesterday, called me because they heard about the 401k financing. So I'll be putting her application through. So essentially, this allows you to borrow against your 401k and pay it back. You do have interest, but it's not the same level
Okay.
of the penalties you typically pay for 401k.
The 401k can be for business purposes.
Yeah, it could be wherever you need the money for. And I
Oh,
also do refinancing too. I can broker refinancing
okay.
for
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Any announcements before we close out?
just that we're here and we're ready and we want to work with you.
Okay.
We are located in the city of Detroit, but we can operate anywhere in the country.
Anywhere in the country. Okay.
Yeah, and people are getting scared because of the interest rates. But I'll tell you, when it comes to the interest rates, we're about to see a housing situation where people are going to be dumping their houses. And over the next 15 to 18 months, whoever purchases property, no matter what your interest level rates are, you're going to benefit in about, it's predicted to be about 18 months. And you'll probably benefit just like people did coming after COVID calmed down, and
Yeah.
just like people did after Obama got in office and took care of some things. So
Yes.
don't be scared of these interest rates. They're going to always exist.
Okay. Share with us one more time how people can get in touch with you and they can work with you in your business.
Yeah, info at mymarine.com. That's info as an information at mymarine, MERENE. It's my mother's middle name. .com or 877-396-2260.
All right. All right. So I want to thank our guests again for this evening, sharing just some helpful information. You're a business owner or an upstart looking for resources. You have a passion, a dream, a vision. We want to encourage you to reach out to Brother Barksdale with Marine Solutions. So you have his, and we'll also in the playback on YouTube, we'll in the description, we'll have his contact information available. All right. So thanks again, man. I appreciate you being.
Hey, my pleasure. I appreciate you inviting me on. Thank you.
Yes, yes. All right. So that wraps it up for our podcast. Thanks again for those who are joining us live. Again, like and share this information for those who can benefit. And again, we're about bringing you difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. We're about celebrating what people are doing in the community, and we're about serving you to help you increase your reach and to expand your opportunities in the marketplace. So thanks again for watching this podcast. If you find value, I definitely encourage you to like and subscribe. Everyone have a good night.